just one of those things where I look back at it now and go, what the fuck was I thinking? Like I literally go, where my murder is at, and two guys in the front row raise their hands. And we had a security meeting, Drew. I met with the guards and my crew.
It's not where my mommy's at. It's where my murder's at. You get it?
Welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dr. After Dark. Number here, 818-253-1693. The email is drafterdark@gmail.com. The great Jeff Ross joins me, just laughing at Nadav's countdown, which he does in Hebrew every day.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Do it again for the kids at home.
Ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it.
Yeah.
In Austin, Texas.
In Austin, Texas, no less. That's right.
I wonder how many people are speaking Yiddish in Austin today.
He just took offense at me saying Yiddish. Hebrew, right? Hebrew. I beg your pardon.
Very good, Drew.
Yes,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Hebrew.
So,
Hi.
Hey man, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
And I was thinking through our relationship as this was coming on, and two things jumped out. One was the last time I saw you was in New York City. Mm-hmm. And you asked who wants to come up on stage and get their ass kicked.
Right.
And I went, all right, I'll do it. And
ass kicked. That's not what I do.
And you went, are you sure? You were like, yeah, okay, I want to help out.
Right.
And
I asked for speed roast volunteers.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And you got off pretty easy. It wasn't too vicious.
It was very nice.
I saved you for the end, like out of respect.
No, everything about it couldn't have been better. I loved it.
Do you remember what I said?
No. Something about my sweater, I think. Something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah. But I remember that you were kind, and you actually gave me a chance to say something back, which I was like, well, that's nice, but I didn't have much to say, of course. So not being a professional
You're always
comedian.
been a good sport, Drew.
Well, thank you. And it actually was really fun. And then then I started thinking, well, when Jeff and I get to be friends, Jesus Christ, it's been a long time. But I think I can pick the moment.
Oh.
Because I knew you before I felt close to you, and I felt close to you. And you have your USO shirt on today, and that's why I like that shirt, because it reminded me of the first time I really hung out with you. We were at a party at Kimmel's Beach House in Hermosa or something years ago. It was a long time ago, and you had just gotten back from Iraq, Afghanistan.
Could have been either.
It was your first trip.
Oh.
It was your first one.
Iraq.
And you were just... I don't have a strong enough word to describe, how taken you were with the whole experience. And we talked about it for like a couple of hours, I think, that night. And I was like, oh my gosh, just got a lot going on.
It changed me.
Yeah, and I didn't know you really before that. Really, I mean, we were friendly, whatever.
I didn't know me before that.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like it was a huge, like you said, I don't know what the word is. I became a productive member of society, a patriot, a tax-paying, all-American person in that moment.
Yeah, it was like a level of, I'm going to use a word, none of these words fit, but appreciation for what was going on over there that you just had not had. And it went from top of your head to your toes, it felt like. And you were describing being on the helicopter. That's the description I kept remembering.
What a great memory.
Well, because it affected me. You affected me with how you were feeling. And you even, I think if I remember, you started crying a little bit at some point. We were talking about it. And I was it changed me. So
it didn't just give me an appreciation for the men and women of the armed forces who protect everything that we hold sacred. It also gave me a further perspective on my own career as a comedian, because I went over there with 6 other comics. Drew Carey led this battalion of comics, and he's a Marine.
Drew Carey's a Marine?
He's a Marine.
I didn't know that. How long ago?
He was a young man. He joined the Marines.
So he knew what this was.
He warned me ahead of time that anything can happen, and everything happened. The early days of the U.S. effort in Iraq, they called it an occupation, where we went in there looking for weapons of mass destruction. And this was a time in my life where I just didn't care about anything except my own life and career. You know, this is 20 years ago. And I was just always, I didn't understand what the military was. I got it confused with the government. To me, it was all one big thing until I actually met this. And I had my Uncle Murray, was a World War II hero, and my Uncle Albie served. So my understanding of the military was World War II, the Greatest Generation. It was almost like legend.
But you and I kind of grew up in the shadow of Vietnam.
Right.
Which sort of fucked all that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the modern day military, that they were much more sophisticated than I'd seen in movies. I'd always seen these kill a commie for mommy movies.
Yeah.
And I didn't relate to that. I didn't understand that. I was intimidated, like they're not going to like me. They're not going to understand my jokes. Then I get over there. It's moms, it's dads, it's engineers, it's truck drivers.
Yeah.
They just all happen to be wearing the same outfit.
Yeah.
Harder to roast. They're all wearing the same outfit, but a best audience ever. They weren't worried about the normal thing. Like they're there. Some of them are there by decree. They were ordered to be at a show because can be a very depressing situation to be away from home in a war zone, obviously. So I started slinging jokes and getting to know the stories. And when you're not a journalist, when you're an outsider, but I came in as a comedian asking questions, not looking to get a scoop. And people opened up to me and I to them. And my friend Blake Clark, who was a Vietnam vet, was in a helicopter crash in Vietnam. So now here I am on a Black Hawk going through Tikrit, Baquaba, Fallujah, Baghdad, the Green Zone with this guy who's basically survived a helicopter crash before, and to see how it was affecting him and how he wasn't welcomed home as a Vietnam vet, but here he is.
And didn't you had at least one emergency on one of those flights?
we had a couple of weird things in the helicopters.
Yeah.
But the one that really shook me up was, we would leave the Green Zone, the Al Rashid Hotel, like 5 a.m. under cover of darkness in the Black Hawk so that we were safer. And the insurgency was just starting up. Saddam was still alive. He was in hiding. So the whole thing had a lot of mystery and mystique about it and terror. And back then you could still ride around with the Black Hawk doors open. And I was shooting video out the window, and you see Saddam's palaces and the desert and the mosques and the monuments, and it's all very eye-opening. But we came back late at night after doing a few shows around the country. We come back to the Al Rashid Hotel late at night, and that's when they tell us that it was mortared while we were gone, that there was attacked while we were gone.
The hotel.
And they show us the top floors. It's all burned out. And I go, oh my God, that's crazy. They go, yeah, it happened 10 minutes after you left. So we were obviously a target. Someone knew that the Drew Carey and this band of comedians was in there. And I go, wow, that's really scary. Well, where are we going to sleep tonight? And they go, oh no, it's still the safest place to sleep. There wasn't enough Ambien in my bag to get me through that night. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is where they go, yeah, it's the most fortified place, and you're going to sleep, and the show must go on.
Wow.
And that's what we did. And one thing was that you get a joke, Drew. It's just like a diagnosis. It was like it was like vaccine for the soul. You make someone laugh in that situation. You get a joke to penetrate a Kevlar vest or a helmet.
Yeah.
You really feel like you've done something as a comic. So it's when I truly figured out the job definition of what I do. There's a lot. You're right. I was affected, and I still am. Look, I'm still wearing I still do these shows.
You went back like 8 more times?
I've gone back a bunch.
How many times?
I've gone to Iraq a couple times. I've been to Guantanamo. I've been to Kosovo. I've been to New Orleans and Gulfport during the Katrina stuff. I went over there with Wayne Newton, who does a lot of those types of shows. I've been to probably 20 countries. I've probably done 100 shows
100
around the
shows.
world,
Wow.
at least.
Wow.
Not to mention hospital visits, and it's not a way. I'm not showing off. I mean, my point is that this became something that I couldn't stop doing. I just was waiting for those calls because, show business. It's all about me, 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 me. How much am I making? What can I eat? Can I have a steak before I go on? Can I? How nice is the hotel? Is there going to be a limo? And then suddenly you're thrown into a fucking war zone and you're on military time, and it was very grounding for me.
Yeah. I did a thing that's going to come up pretty soon with the military for a reality type thing, and I have a similar feeling. I can't really talk about it yet, but it was you realize what these people do. And it's not what you said. You said no, it's not what you think, but it's on a level you've never conceived of. It's like you've not gone there. That's where they got to go all the time.
One joke I remember saying was that the Marines, they love Drew Carey because they love blondes with big tits. And I left Iraq. This is an interesting. I left Iraq without a scratch. After all that, I had what they called Saddam's revenge. I was in the
diarrhea,
in the dehydration and diarrhea at the same time.
Perfect.
And
jeez.
I managed to get out, without any major problems. They dropped me off on Bainbridge Island in Washington at my sister's house for Christmas. These military jets. All right, we're stopping here, and we're stopping. And I go ice skating that night with my nephews, and I broke my femur.
Seriously? Yeah. It's really hard. Femur's the biggest bone in the body. It's impossible to break. Do you break it down here? Or do you break it up?
Right in
you
here.
Broke your hip.
Right here.
No.
Christmas Eve. So
you fell right on the thing, right?
It was one of those classic moments. I'm skating.
Do you have a medal in there now?
3 pins.
Yeah.
3 pins.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. You can now. He's not just look at hip fracture, trochanteric fracture, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll see. It wasn't quite the break he got, but that's the idea. Nope, there he is. There's Jeff right there.
Yep.
That's sort of the one. That one is when they replace the hip and they put a pin through it. You had one probably further down a little bit.
Right in here.
Yeah,
There's
right
a little
there.
scar.
Yeah.
And the irony is, it was a Navy surgeon who came to the rescue on Christmas Eve. So the military, they're saving me.
Nice.
On a night where it was just one classic moment. I hadn't skated in 20 years. Take your nephew skating, free ice skating, and I'm getting full speed. It's the last lap of the day.
Oh no!
And
were you lightheaded or anything from the diarrhea and all that?
I was probably okay by then because I'd flown, had another day or two in Iraq, and then flown back, and a little girl fell in front of me.
Oh,
or as I remember saying through my hazy. Drug and, coming off the anesthesia. I remember Sarah Silverman and Jimmy Kimmel called me on a 3-way at the hospital. And they said, what happened? And I said, I was skating, ice skating. And a little 5-year-old cunt fell in front of me. and they always think that's the funniest thing because I was so bad. And I could either keep skating and decapitate her or throw my legs up and as a hero and fly through the air and land on my left leg and,
Ouch, nice.
So I spent 5-6 weeks in my sister's guest room, and then finally was able to hobble out of there.
2000, something like that?
I think this would have been 2003
Christmas.
Yeah,
because 2001 was 9/11.
That was Afghanistan, and then by the time we were in Iraq, it was 03.
Yeah.
I think we went in 02 or in that summer, and I was there in August or September. So, 120 degrees in the war zone, leave completely fine. Drop me off in Washington State, major structural injury to my body.
Fantastic. Well, Jeff, we're going to do a little Your Mom's House action here.
Oh, fun.
Okay, this is, I prepared a special show for you where we're going to review some of the classics that you may not have ever been exposed to. I've been threatening to do this forever. And Nadav finally released the hounds. Gave me the permission to do this with your now that you're here with us today.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Before we do that, I want to do a couple of voice messages. People call me all kinds of sort of Loveline-esque kinds of questions. And I'll give you a crack at each one first. So pay attention, and
fun.
we'll see what they're a little more medical these days than they used to be relationship type, but
Right.
we'll see. Let's see what you got.
Hey, Dr. Drew. This is Lucian, calling from the Netherlands. I'm originally American from New Jersey, but I live in the Netherlands. Anyway, my question was, why is it that when we're drunk or tipsy, we tend to hiccup? I'm slightly tipsy right now because I just came home from work. I work as a bartender.
I was going to say.
And I've noticed that I'm slightly hiccuping.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Okay.
And I kind of hope for a logic answer.
Got it.
I hope to see you soon or
Jeff,
hear from you soon.
thank you,
If
sir.
not, if I can't, it's because I got a DUI, baby.
Okay, there we go. So what do we think? Hiccups from alcohol.
This is, I mean, on the list of crucial medical
Yes,
emergencies.
this is. They're throwing us softballs. To be fair, we'll get right to the classic stuff soon enough. But what do you think?
It's got to be something with your breathing, right? I mean,
No, it's actually a little different. That and by the way,
how do you know this? By the way, this is not. They teach it. Where in medical school does hiccuping come in?
Because you'll see patients with hiccups that are persistent and they want help with it.
Oh.
And you have a few things you kind of go through to try to, and it's one of the more common causes is gastritis and esophagitis. And somehow that actually gets the diaphragm and irritates it. I don't know how. But if you treat the alcohol is an irritant to the stomach and the esophagus, and that can start triggering hiccups. That's what it is. So we put them on Pepcid and give them a Mylanta or something, Gaviscon, and hiccups get better.
The people who suffer from that get offended when people use the word hiccup derogatory. You know, like, how was your flight? Oh, we had a couple hiccups getting to the airport, but you know, it's
Because the people that when they get going, people fucking hate them.
Yeah.
So you can use the hiccup as pejoratively as possible because it causes pain after a while. It really gets painful.
Really?
Their abdomen's hurting, their diaphragm's hurting. And I have treated people with intractable hiccups.
What is that?
It's for weeks. And we used to use Thorazine to break that up, of all things. I don't know why it did it, but it did it.
So exhausting. You would
Yeah,
think.
it was just terrible. It's awful for them. All right, give me another voicemail.
Hey, Dr. Drew. So every time I'm sick, I kind of like sweat it out. You know, like I'll put covers on and just try to really sweat it out. But I also I jerk off and I blow a load, and I think that kind of helps get over the sickness. Am I wrong? Does that not work that way? Am I just being an R word?
What do you think, Jeff? Get a little semen off your chest.
Does hiccups make you come?
Did you see that's Marcus Welby back in the day? Robert Young standing there going, "Well, son, if you jack off more."
This is the weirdest two opening medical emergencies I've ever heard.
Yeah, they're kind of weird. But males, it's males, you notice. As young males, we think about all kinds of shit, mostly worrying, are we normal? That it's from like 18 to 27. That's about all we think about. Am I normal? Am I normal? Am I
Really?
normal? Is this normal? Is that normal? And stuff, now they have somewhere to go with me. This thought would have passed, you know what I mean? In a world where you didn't have an internet and didn't have somebody to send a voice message to. But today, they actually get an answer. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Now, it can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when you're faced with a challenge, right? But when you learn how to find your own solutions, that's a great feeling. And a therapist can help you become a better problem solver, make it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I've referred patients, family, friends to BetterHelp. Online therapy is a great option, and the resources and professionals they have there are excellent. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It is convenient, accessible, affordable, entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. Switch therapists anytime. I've been sending family, friends, patients for online therapy at BetterHelp, and I've been extremely pleased with the professional resources they have there. They are excellent. And because this whole thing is online now, right, you don't have to... You have to worry about being embarrassed or running into somebody in a waiting room. Stigma is no longer an excuse for getting therapy. You take care of your body. Why wouldn't you take care of your mind? It just doesn't make any sense. And it's so convenient, it's available. It's BetterHelp. BetterHelp will get you to be a better problem solver. Therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/afterdark today to get 10% off your first month. That is betterhelp.com/afterdark. If you're like me and there's a foreign language that you regret not learning in school, it is never too late to start with Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that has sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Thanks to their addictively fun, easy, bite-sized language lessons, you can finally cross learning that new language off your list. Susan and I have been using Babbel lately. We've been traveling, and Susan particularly has been learning French with Babbel. And I used to make fun of her French accent, but not since Babbel. They have really improved not just her ability to sort of converse, but her accent is excellent. We love Babbel. We've been using it. And look, if you're going to go to another country and you don't speak the language, why not have at least the courtesy of learning some basic ability to get about in that country? And with Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages. As I said, Portuguese, there's also Spanish, French, Italian, German. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/Drew. That is babbel.com/Drew for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. So
Wow.
So this actually drives me a little crazy because my wife does this all the time. It's like, I sweat it out. I sweat it out. Nothing comes out in your sweat. You're sweating because your body is trying to bring the fever. You're breaking a fever and you're trying to cool down, right? When you fever goes up, you chill because your body's driving the temperature up. When you cool down, you sweat. Now, there are sweats that you can get that are part of a deep-seated infection or a cancer. They're called B symptoms that we don't really know why the body does that, but it does that. And nothing's coming out. Nothing, it's sweat. I went to the gym and I sweated out my virus.
Sweat it out.
Viruses are inside your cells reproducing like mad until they stop. And that's it. In the meantime, they have a life cycle and that cycle goes, then they're gone. And that's it.
But
your
the
immune
sweat-
system breaks them apart. Sweat, nothing comes down the sweat.
But it's an
except
indication.
Sodium chloride.
But it's an indication that you might be through it.
Yes, it indicates your fever's coming down at least.
Right. I sweated out last night.
But
in other words,
I think people hear that term and they literally think
no.
something's coming out of their body. No, nothing's coming out of here. Now there might be a little bit of this and that in sweat because it's sort of it has a plasma equivalency to it to some extent, but it's not much of anything. It's just a nothing. It's not like you're forcing stuff out of your body because people will go, I go into the sauna and sweat it out. No, you're not. That may be driving your fever up.
what about chills?
Chills is when your temperature's going up.
So sometimes if I take a hit of a joint and I haven't eaten, usually I feel like I'll start to get a little
chill.
shaky or chill. I get
You know what
cold.
that is? You know what that is? I bet you that cannabis. Let me get this right. Yeah, cannabis drops your blood sugar rather dramatically. Sometimes its insulin goes up, blood sugar goes down, and one of the signs of blood sugar dropping is shakiness. I bet you it's the blood sugar. It's rather dramatic how cannabis does that.
I mean, yeah.
Do you get hungry too? Do you have? You get hungry. Sure.
You get hungry.
Yeah,
sure.
that's the sugar.
Yeah.
Going
But I
down.
definitely get cold and go, am I having some sort of? Is this some neurological thing that?
Nah, I bet it's the sugar.
That's the early stages of something, or
You may have that too, but anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have anything. You don't have it. Give me another voicemail. These are going well.
you guys are laughing
So
at what
far-
I could have
so
one
far-
day. I don't.
So far, so good. No, you don't have anything. You're good.
Is this a roast?
I'd be freaking out if I thought you had something.
Right.
Hey, this is Zach. I'm calling in from Omaha. Just wanted to call because my wife and I are starting to do some family planning, and
Okay.
I'm a regular THC user and
Okay.
wanted to see if it affects having a child at all. If I continue, using marijuana every day, is that going to affect anything related to the pregnancy? And, just wanted to see if I should cut all that shit out of my system before
Okay.
we start trying
All right. Okay.
to keep them high and tight.
Yeah, but so really, no, it's fine. There was a moment there where they thought cannabis in the dad might increase the risk of orthopedic sort of anomalies, like an extra finger and that kind of thing. I think that was always bullshit. You can lower your sperm count, and so if you have trouble getting pregnant, when you go to fertility clinic, they're going to make you stop. But if you don't have trouble getting pregnant, it's a nothing.
Is it fair to say it's kind of hard to fuck up a baby, right? Like people from every walk of life.
It's hard and it's easy. It's weird. You know, I mean, it's the when the DNA is open and the cells are sort of differentiating, it's such a fantastically complex system. But at the same time, you can't really get at it. It's kind of a closed system. But if something does get at it, it has massive effects. So it's sort of a yes and a no. Yeah.
I was always afraid of that as a kid. I thought I'd never, I still haven't, but I was always afraid that there was a deep-seated fear in me that I would have a child that wasn't healthy, that it would be a burden on me. I don't understand it. I remember my grandfather saying something like that about, gotta be careful, And,
Yeah.
But
the things that we are exposed to in childhood are so fucking intense to us. Our brain is like doesn't screen things out. It just takes them, and if they're intense enough, they become sort of traumatic and fixed. And these ideas just stay with us. We just worry about stuff that we shouldn't be worrying that much about. And the probability of you having the only thing you have to worry about as you get older is there may be an increased risk of autism in older dads. That's one of the things that people kind of worry about now. Whether that's true or not, and it's certainly not universal, but we worry about that. So that's it. Everything else.
So I can keep trying if I...
Keep trying. Got somebody in mind?
Yeah.
Ooh, good for you. I can't wait. Would you need a fertility thing at all, or... Let's put it this way: if you go more than if you're trying and you go more than 6 months, get somebody to look at things,
Right?
Because there's so much they can do. It's just
I'm not
much.
trying, but one day I would like to.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I know we're doing so well with these voicemails. Let's do one more of those.
Hi, Dr. Drew. My name is Johnny. I'm a 30-year-old male who recently
gotta get a
decided to
female.
quit drinking after 9 years.
Yeah.
Heavy drinking just
Yep.
about every night.
Nice.
I've been having a lot of anxiety, which
Yeah.
is to be expected. But
Yep.
what I didn't expect was a lot of extreme pain and muscle tightness in my neck and in between my shoulders. I haven't been doing any strenuous activity. I've had a little bit of trouble sleeping, but not in any weird positions. I tried getting a massage to see if that could work out some of the kinks, but the pain only seemed to come back with a vengeance and seems to be getting worse. This is affecting my range of motion and everything. Could this be brought on by my anxiety? And what can I do to get rid of this in the future?
Okay.
Thanks, Mommy.
You bet, buddy. What you're describing as anxiety is not anxiety. It's alcohol withdrawal. It goes on for several weeks. It fucks your sleep up for several months. And very commonly, when people get the first couple months of alcohol withdrawal, they get fibromyalgia from the severe sleep disturbance. And that's what you have. Now, physical exercise would normally be one of the solutions. But, if your muscles are tight, you could also have a seizure in the first 2 weeks. So if it's been 2 weeks or less, or even 3 weeks or less, talk to your doctor about whether you're ready for physical exercise or not yet. But exercise is the treatment, and then getting your sleep right. Get that sleep right. Things like melatonin. Don't take benzodiazepines, anything like that. But Benadryl, things that you can just kind of try to get that sleep adjusted. Because I've seen people have disabling fibromyalgia in the first few months of alcohol withdrawal.
When I'm on the road, I'll have a drink or two at night, and I don't think I'm not a big drinker, never was, but I find that when I'm traveling, for some reason, I haven't figured out what it is. I thought it was mattresses at first. So I guess it's called sciatica. I don't know. Like I'd have a terrible pain in my lower back. And it'd be pretty bad where I'd have to take breaks walking.
Yeah.
I was just like, what's going on with me? And then I'd get home to my own bed, wouldn't drink as much, a lot more exercise, and it would go away.
Yes, it goes away with exercise. It goes away with walking, too. It'll stick up with walking, but it'll resolve with walking. I think, the beds are too soft or too hard, right? So you're sleeping in different positions. Airplane. That's your biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because the airplane seats are just awful for our back. It's not sciatica. It's the soft tissue around your lumbar spine that starts breaking down and spasming. And, it always gets better. It's good news.
So it'll hurt walking, but you can kind of push through it.
Push through a little bit if you can. You got to work on your core muscles and stuff. Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. So you don't think it's alcohol related?
I mean, it's not helping things. It's screwing your sleep up more too, right? And the more you screw your sleep up. But I think because people complain about this all the time, and I just think particularly when you're doing more than 2 hours in a plane, it's bad for your back. It's bad. You might get. One of the things I do is sometimes they'll give you a blanket and a pillow and stuff. I just pile that all up in the bag. So put that behind your low back. It might help. Particularly right where your sacrum is. Lean forward. Like from here to here, right where my hand is. Put something there.
So your back should be like a tray table, upright in the locked position.
It's not that so much as just supported, properly supported.
That's great advice.
So there you go. Okay, so I want to get to this little classic, your mom's house. Okay, so your mom's house. Do you understand how this world is built on?
I need a little bit of
a little
tutorial.
primer. So help me describe it, guys. You've been here longer than I have, I think, and
I have.
Yeah, and it's built on videos that are sent to Tom and Christina.
I've done this with them.
Well, and they're sent in, and they're things that Christina picks off of TikTok or something. They're generally awful, disturbing, and they make fun of them. And I feel very, very uncomfortable about it. But I've been destroyed by them. They've sort of destroyed my moral compass.
Because they're so gross or
because
outlandish?
no, I mean Tom and Christina have destroyed my moral compass. I don't mean the videos.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've caused me to look humorously at these things that normally just give me horror and make me feel bad. I do feel bad still, and when I see these classics. Like the first classic, what do you want to present these to us?
Just because I see what I have in front of me, let me run you through a couple.
Okay, so and you can set them up well for Jeff, okay? So he understands what these are.
Sure, so this first one is some advice on how to be able to come in 4 strokes. And
this is an old one.
Right, and this is with the help of meth. And so this is a tutorial from a professional.
I haven't seen
if
this
you've had any kind of erectile disorder problems, I'm here to tell you, forget about Viagra, forget about salads, forget about dick implants and all that stuff. So I don't know if you believe me or not, but if you like to see me smoke some meth with a small limp dick that doesn't get hard any other way and watch it get harder and harder, the more I smoke, the harder my dick gets. It's unbelievable. Your dickhead becomes so sensitive that you don't need lube, you don't need spit, you just stroke that dickhead just up and down 4 times, just barely do it, and you will shoot an enormous amount of very thick, hot white cum.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Wow.
My brother didn't believe me, but when he smoked with me, he put out his dick. I couldn't believe how big his dick was. He jacked off in 4 strokes and shot the most cum.
It's like name that tune.
He's only 49.
I can come in 3 strokes.
He has no neuropathy problems at all, but his dick is
make that
harder
dick come.
and thicker and even more cum. He believes me now.
Jane Kasmerick. What's his name? Jane
Krakowski. She's awesome.
Oh, Jesus. So this guy's been known forever as the 4-stroke guy.
Oh, okay.
And in my world, meth suppresses. Some people get hypersexual around sex, but I've not heard so much about erectile function with meth. Most people complain of having difficulty with erection or difficulty having orgasm.
Or showing up for work or maintaining relationships or teeth or...
That all goes. That all goes. But just as it pertains to the penis here.
Okay.
So this was news to me. And as no doubt pointed out, no better source than a professional for this.
Yeah, you don't sign off on this advice, Drew?
No, I don't sign off on it. You notice Jeff doesn't seem to either. You know, by the way, the streets of Los Angeles, ubiquitous meth right now. And it's a certain kind of meth that's being manufactured in Mexico called it's like P2P, I think it's called, something like that. And it is awful. And it makes people psychotic fast. And what happens over a few years of it, I don't know if we're going to see there's a lot of meth addicts in our world here. They kind of survive, but they all go to the streets. They all end up on the streets, and they're psychotic, and they're the ones that are kind of wildly going around. You see with the machetes and stuff. That's all meth. And then they'll die all of a sudden. And we haven't seen meth deaths on the streets of Los Angeles yet, but we're going to.
There's a lot of troubled, crazy, over the top.
Well, but my point is meth is one of the primary culprits, and if they don't help these people, the deaths are all of a sudden going to streak up. Just all of a sudden you see a bump. Like we have 6 a day already. 6 a day now.
Wow.
6 a day on Los Angeles streets. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
When you're studying medicine,
Yeah.
either as a young man or even now, do doctors ever have to try what these things? Do you know what it's like to be high on meth?
I do not. but I don't know what it's like to have cancer either, or have my chest open up.
That's a great answer.
You know what I mean? You don't have to have had these things to have helped people with them.
I understand.
Me. Now, with addiction, because getting people out of addiction is such a...
Wouldn't it be great to have a doctor to go, yeah, man, I get it. I totally get it, but listen.
Well, we do. we do. We use recovering physicians, right?
Oh.
And so helping people motivate them to get through all that stuff, we will do that. It is one of the one times we sort of do that, but it's not exclusively that. Because we need armies of people to help these people. We have to find other ways to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So, good times. What else you got there?
All right, so now we're going to go down a fun lane of guys who send videos to girls instead of texts.
This is so good.
And this is our classic Joe trying to reach out to Julia.
You know, this has come up a bunch lately out in the world. People, hello, Julia. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Julia.
That's come up a lot for me, so I'm glad to see him back.
So here's the source material.
Good morning, Julia. It's me, Joe. Just wanted to say hi. Wish you a great day. Tell you that meeting you yesterday and getting a look at you was probably one of the greatest moments of my life. You were so beautiful. You don't know how beautiful you are to me.
Okay.
I mean, you're gorgeous. You're precious. But it's been sitting in my mind when you said to me you want to go back with your ex-boyfriend. Please erase him from your memory. Don't ever go back in the past. I know, because I've been there. And I understand when, you're trying to find somebody and you go on dates and nothing compares to your ex. But there is that better person out there.
Me.
And Julia, I promise you it is me.
Oh.
I will love you like you've never been loved before.
Wow.
I will cherish you. I'll make you feel like a woman, a real woman.
He should know. He's got a vagina on his chin.
You won't even know who your ex-boyfriend is.
Can you imagine being a woman? I mean, attractive women have to deal with this shit all the time. Men losing their shit. And probably, you wonder why women kind of are not necessarily cordial sometimes. And,
sure.
Because they deal with shit like this all the time.
It's how I learned what it's like to be famous. There were I knew women that were beautiful and my friends, and I'd see how they'd have to brush through a crowd or
it's the same exact thing.
Pretend they didn't hear their name called walking through a mall.
It's the exact same thing. They are like Tom Cruise every time they walk into a bar,
right?
And they have to act accordingly, which is just get me through this. Make sure somebody doesn't pop me, somebody doesn't grab me,
right?
Somebody doesn't keep me occupied the whole night,
or roofie me,
right? Or me. They have that hanging over them all the time too. People don't appreciate. Men have the possibility of physical aggression hanging over us all the time. We know since late grammar school that we could get into a fight really easily with our peers, even people we love. We get into fights with them.
Right.
Women, they learn early that somebody could grab them, and they're worried about it. And they see how men are, and it's like, this is this shit. It's like, ugh, it's awful. But yes, the attractive woman is the exact same phenomenon as a celebrity. They keep their eyes down.
So what do you tell women? How do they?
They figure out that I tell them they're probably doing the right thing. It's just these guys aren't doing the right stuff. I mean, this is like, look, hey man, what I tell the guys is believe them at their word. When they say they're not interested or they're onto something else, just don't. People need to be let to be themselves.
Do you recommend? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Women learning martial arts and that sort of thing, or
I think it's a great idea.
Weapons, pepper spray.
Yes, I do. I mean, it depends where you live and stuff, but I think, not a bad idea.
When I was a kid growing up, I studied Taekwondo, became a teacher, the whole thing.
No, I did not know that about you.
I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
That's good.
It doesn't fit anymore, but I am a black belt.
But do you feel, does it give you a certain amount of confidence?
It does. It always gave me confidence on a date growing up as a young man, but, to talk smack for a living the way I do now, it gives me a certain confidence and swagger. But what, to the point of that video is there were a lot of, I was a little kid, but I remember beautiful women learning martial arts for this reason.
Oh, wow.
So
it's interesting that you learned it early. Most people that have a public life don't realize it till they themselves are in the public eye, and they start looking around and watching what's happening to them, you and the hot chick. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them, and they didn't seek it. It just happens to them. And most of them, I find, are not... it's like everything in life. Everybody wants to be something other than what they are. every actor wants to be a rock star, every rock star wants to be an actor, every producer every manager wants to be a producer.
What's yours?
I'm pretty much doing what I want to do. That's why I noticed it. I thought, what would I be? I'd love to do a little more, believe it or not, I'd love to do a little more singing, but I'm sort of losing that now. My voice is going away. But otherwise, I'm doing what I want to do. And it's lucky. I feel very lucky about that because most people do not. But I've noticed that most women that are super attractive want to have other parts of themselves that they've had to develop, like their intellect or their skill set or whatever. They want that acknowledged, not just how they look, because that just goes without saying. You know, they know it, they got it. You know, it's like, yes, I'm glad you appreciate it, but I really want to be appreciated for something else. You could see how that would be the case, right?
Especially when I in my live stand-up shows, I'll ask for volunteers from the crowd, as you know, and people will come up on stage, and inevitably, the only time I get smacked is when I take that pivot. Like, let's just say we're in Vegas, you know, somebody comes up, high heels, you know, low cut dress, is, you know, the whole dolled up Vegas thing, and boobs hanging out, and they want to be the center of attention. That's why they volunteered to come up. So I'll ignore the boobs hanging out and go, you know, you really, you know, for a pretty girl like you should get your nose fixed. And that's when I get smacked, when you go the other way. Or if I find somebody who's very beautiful and confident in that, maybe not showing it off so much, I won't address that at all. And I'll say, what do you do? You know, where do you go to school? That kind of stuff. You know, who you here with.
Make fun of where they went to school or something.
Just something that admires or highlights their intellect. And you can kind of size people up pretty quick, what their vulnerabilities are and what they want to talk about, what will be fun for them to talk about.
You did something I wanted to bring up that I just really loved, and it was part of the USO part of it. Felt to me like you were in that mode, and I talked to you about it once, and I really wanted you to do more of it. When you went into that prison, I thought that was fantastic.
Thanks, Drew.
But you also said it was something you couldn't do a second time. It's like a one-time thing because it was really intense, I guess.
It's not that it was, well, it was intense. And you can, when you watch it, it's still up. It's on Paramount Plus. All the Comedy Central specials went to Paramount. Jeff Ross Roast Criminals. You can see me shaking in the footage. And it wasn't,
especially going in, it seemed like you were like, oh shit. You kept going further and deeper into the bowels
I
of
was
this
there
thing.
for a week, and it wasn't far from here.
You were there for a week?
I was in Brazos County jail, a maximum security
Why were you
jail,
there for
a
a
couple
week?
hours from here, because I wanted to immerse myself in that jail.
Oh shit!
I wanted to. By the time I went and did the shows for the incarcerated, I wanted to know them. I wanted them to know me. I wanted there to be a certain amount of trust, you know, method roasting, if you will. You know, so when I asked for volunteers and 8 people raised their hands, I already knew 3 of their names because I had walked the halls and basically lived with them for the week, ate with them, played basketball. Same in the women's side of the jail.
It's funny. I just remember the male part vividly. I don't remember the women's part.
The women's part is on YouTube, and that was sort of a more improvised. I didn't have security clearance to go into the women's jail. The show was really designed for the men's jail. But when I got there, the women inmates complained so feverishly to the guards, why is Jeff not allowed into our...
Oh, wow.
And it was more a question of how many people can we fit in one room safely. And I did an impromptu show for the women, which I very much enjoyed because it was a good way to like sort of warm up for the tapings. But also, it was a big morale boost. Wayne Dickey, who's the sheriff there now, who was the jail administrator at the time, down in Brazos County, he said that it was the first time the women had been talked to as human beings in a long time, as opposed to inmates.
Right.
And I did a lot of research with prisoner right groups, human right groups, before I went in, and learned not to say criminal, prisoner. I'd say person locked up, somebody who's incarcerated, humanizing everyone. I met a woman there who was in jail for stealing baby formula. You know, you meet, you know, And the reason I don't keep doing these shows, you said you can only do it once, wasn't because I'm afraid. Although I am a little afraid because a lot of those guys are getting out now. It's been a couple of years. It was like
Scratch
Nazi.
this segment.
There's definitely some white supremacists and Nazis.
And you gave them shit. That's what I like. You assholes with the swastikas on your face.
Right.
And they were laughing their ass off, though.
They were.
Yeah.
Some of it, who knows? But it's because that was the only jail I could get to even say yes.
Wow.
There's huge security issues. There's obviously the optics of like, oh, you're entertaining people that don't deserve to be entertained.
No.
But for me, and I'm sure you could speak to this, like, it's great therapy. It's rehab to laugh at yourself. Something I said to them was, if you can laugh at yourself, you're one step closer to freedom.
Some humans are irretrievable, but a lot of them could get better. Even those guys with the Nazis, I have treated and seen people with the white supremacy bullshit get better. And they are mortified of what they were when they get well.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they take it upon themselves to try to get more of them out, more of them better. That's immediately the direction they go.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It was quite a moment for me, and just one of those things where I look back at it now and go, "What the fuck was I thinking?" Like I literally go, "Where my murder is at?" And two guys in the front row raise their hands. And we had a security meeting, Drew. I met with the guards and my crew.
It's not where my mommy's at. It's where my murder is at. You get it?
and the most dangerous people in the jail had to be in the front.
So they can keep an eye on them?
Yeah. It was closer to me.
Yeah.
Where the less dangerous people were in the back and in the balcony, where if they started up,
I felt like they had some fucked up dudes up there with their legs hanging over the balcony. Those did not look like regular guys.
The sad thing is, you put someone in an orange jumpsuit, even if they're just there for parking tickets, they look scared.
Yeah.
And people become criminalized once they go in.
Yeah. That's
And there were
problem.
people locked up, for possession of less marijuana than I had in my lungs at that moment.
That's insane. That's the case.
It was genuine. It was tough to understand some of it, but to their credit, they take their jailing very seriously in Texas, and they were proud. Wayne Dickey was proud of his facility and how it was run. And let me come in and do my show.
Do you remember that guy that Woody Harrelson was trying to get out of jail in California that filled his house with weed pot plants? And his name was Todd something. And it was really, really bad. I mean, they put him away for like 20 years or something. And then they just stopped. And it seems like now would be the time to maybe bring that up again.
It's crazy, man. I used to risk my life to buy weed, and now I can literally ask a cop where the pot store is in California.
Depends where you are. Yeah, it depends where you are. Not in Russia. Turns out.
No? Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Give me another. Let's do more classics here. Come on, guys. We're just getting into it.
Come on now.
This is really fun.
All right. This one is called... Oh, you know what? Because we talked about Benadryl earlier.
Okay.
So this is 10 to 12 Benadryl Guy with more medical advice.
Oh, God. Oh. Oh, yeah, this guy.
Before you have sex, if you want to be horny for 2 or 3 hours like you've never been in your life, and you have access to marijuana too, good weed, listen to me. True weed alone can get you really hornier than normal, but Benadryl, take about 10, 12 Benadryl before you want to have your sexual fun with your partner or whatever you do or masturbate, all right?
Oh, God. Is that nitrous he's doing?
I can only imagine. Maybe it's helium.
No. His voice would
About
change
an hour later, when you feel it just kicking in, smoke your weed down. And then go ahead and get horny. And I promise you, it'll be millions and times more. You'll be so blissfully horny that you will not want to come. Trust me.
You notice how
there is going to be restlessness if you take it really late at night.
That's right.
And you want to just go to bed.
I've never seen this part. He's right. You get agitated from that much Benadryl. It doesn't,
because Benadryl will make you have restless legs
all
and
kinds of
restlessness.
stuff. Yes.
You'll wake up and you'll. It's not very pleasing.
That's right. You get you get something called an anticholinergic delirium if you take too much of it. But you notice how we don't have any women as the preoccupying about shit like this. This is a male thing.
Why?
It's just the motivational systems. They're different. Males are, worrying about their penis all the time. Should give you case 2 here. Give me another one. Where's RPC? Is he around in the classic pile you have?
Oh yeah, let me show you the original RPC.
This was the original video that I got exposed to, and Tom just goes, "Anything wrong with this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel so bad for him. Is he kidding? Is this serious? Is he really?"
I
actually went to New York and visited this guy.
What?
I did. I went. He lived in the developments, the housing up on sort of Upper East Side.
2395 Wagner houses.
Yeah, it was up around the hundreds and East Side. And
up above Gracie Mansion.
Yeah, and he was living in interesting circumstances, but a lovely man. I still communicate with him regularly now.
So do we.
Yep.
4 years going, and it's quite a roller coaster, but here's the video that started it all.
Black guys who love to fuck and fuck good. If you're a hot black guy and you want to fuck me at $23.95, if you want to move in, you can move in, but you gotta fuck me. I need to be fucked a lot, man. Get free food, free rent, and everything else, man. Here's the deal, man. Men from jail, homeless, or you're a thug, you want to come move in, your friend can move with you too, man. Free rent, you get a lease and a key. Fuck me. Piss on me, beat me, I'm home there now. You see me, you want to come over today and try it out, man.
So
in my building, try it out. You want to fucking piss on me, try it out. Seriously, applied only as fuck, man. I'm looking for hardcore guys that mean it, want to do it, and I want to deliver it. I'm a hot white trash.
Wow.
Come down, let's fuck.
Okay, so that's not who he is in real life. Turns out.
Wow.
Though
he's got my mustache. I wonder if I'm going to play him in the movie.
RPC the movie, yes. He does like men, and he does like sort of aggressive men. But he says he was just pretending, and he was just playing when he was doing this, and it just sort of turns him on to do it. And is he wearing something on his head?
I can't tell if that's like a ribbon bow on his head or just right behind
Yeah,
him.
he has hats and all kinds of shit and costumes and things. His house is.
Why did you visit him?
We were intrigued by him.
Oh.
I wanted to see what was really good. I when I see these people, I want to go meet them. That's my weird instinct I have. Very weird. They let me know it's weird, but it's not all of them. Some of them I couldn't have no time for, but some of them are like, okay, I need to understand what's going on here.
Wow,
what is
good
going
for
on?
you.
And I knew something more was going on with RPC. And somebody went before me, right? Oh yeah, Josh.
Josh Potter.
Josh Potter went, and I was like, oh, now I'm really interested because it's not at all what we think it is. It's something else. And it turned out to be very interesting. He used to do drag shows in Coney Island. His mom used to read him pornography when he was a little boy.
Wow.
For reasons that are unclear.
Wow.
And he claims to have all kinds of celebrity friends, but we've never been able to substantiate any of that.
I'd like to see that list.
Well, I know that Tom Selleck is on it. Tom Selleck figures prominently in most of his lists of celebrity
Really?
friends.
That explains the mustache.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
Another mustache.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Maybe.
I'm going to get on the list.
Yeah, yeah. You're working your way there.
There's a new sheriff
you're
in town.
close. All right, you wanted to show us something else before that.
Let me. Oh, yeah.
I need to talk to you about my mustache before we finish.
On this?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about it.
I need to talk to you about it.
All right, we'll do it on mic.
It's a medical miracle.
It is a medical miracle. First thing I noticed. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, okay. I thought you were guys.
Well, we have to have the whole conversation then. Is that okay on mic?
I'm okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, you didn't want to talk about it.
I know.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay, so this next one is guys that are just kind of broadcasting their like need for pussy. I think Christina would normally call this horny Thursdays or horny Fridays.
Yeah.
But I think this was slightly before TikTok took over.
Right. Correct.
So this is just a lane of what we call cool guys.
Hi, I'll make this brief. My name's John Lyu Shipman. I'm looking for girls for
Hello,
pussy.
Newman.
I love to eat pussy.
Again, this
if you're into fat guys, you're looking for some action, you live in Missouri, please call me
I feel so bad for men.
at
'cause they're so
157
they're
or
so
text
desperate.
me
right? There's some
Yeah,
like,
163.
I need somebody needs help. And the women are dealing with that.
Nobody ever, and nobody rewards desperation.
No.
I just never. Charity, they'll give you charity, but they're not going to really engage.
No. Is there another cool guy?
Yeah, this is. I think this is probably one of my favorite cool guys.
Oh wow, this is interesting. This is a special day.
Yeah, just sharing his opinion on women.
Okay.
What's up on my Instagram heads? I'm on a roll today because women are fucking stupid. Okay, they're fucking stupid. Okay, I don't understand why it's so difficult for good guys to meet a fucking sane woman. I don't understand why every woman's a fucking stupid idiot. I don't understand it. I just don't. Do you understand we are in the situation we are in because woman ate the apple? It is woman's fucking fault. Give me back my fucking rib and go back to where the fuck you came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think he'd meet a lot of women with all that Geico money he made?
Women are stupid.
He's a nice guy, like you said. Just what are you going to do? I mean, yeah, the Dunning-Kruger phenomenon is alive and well in the cool guy world, which is lack of self-awareness, essentially. So, well, let's have a mustache talk.
This is it just happened.
Yes.
And it's like my eyebrows went from from here down to here.
Well, you have some eyebrow coming back too, though.
A little bit, but I'm going to start a medication soon.
What are you going to do?
That'll, I have alopecia.
Yeah, his alopecia totalis, it's called.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do have some body hair.
Yeah.
And years ago, when I was really trying to understand I was misdiagnosed when doctors told me I had lupus and started putting me on steroids and stuff like that. And another dermatologist eventually figured out that I had alopecia, then another and it was incurable and so on. And in a Hail Mary desperate attempt, I called Drew, who I didn't know well, who I knew but didn't know well, but said maybe you would be able to send me in a hopeful direction.
I had just read this great, like a day before this article, I went, shit, we have a great treatment for this now. And you called and said, you're never going to believe this. I know exactly where to send you.
You set me up at Yale Medical with Dr. Brett King, who's now become a legend in the alopecia world.
He absolutely, he was on the threshold of this thing being solved, frankly.
Right. And he was solving it with
JK inhibitors.
Xeljanz, which is for arthritis.
Correct.
And
it was fucking working.
And I called you and I said, there's some side effects that lowers your immune system, and I had to take some blood tests, and you were basically backing up Dr. King's assessment that it might help me. He was helping a lot of kids who had alopecia, and it's traumatic. It's hard for a kid, a man, a woman. Jada Pinkett, anybody. I don't care how beautiful you are. If all your hair falls out in a matter of weeks,
it's weird.
You think you're dying.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, you hope you're dying because it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Suddenly, I'm a famous guy who no one recognizes.
Right.
I lost all my swag. I didn't even know who I was. I was hiding it. I was lying about it. I was ducking it, covering it, trying to figure out what was happening to me. And I went on this Xeljanz, and after about 8 months, I got some semblance, not on the hair on my head so much, but some facial hair came back, and it was a big relief, learning to live with a new look, which was not easy but doable. And I got to know Dr. King better and better, and he's been helping a lot of people, and I still never talked about it. It was still sort of this thing, well, I'm a guy, everybody just thinks I shaved my head. It happened to be right before I went into the jail. So I kind of, I kind of used that.
Yeah.
To say, well, I don't want to look like their Jewish attorney. I want to look like, more relatable to these, to the people in jail. So I shaved my head to look a little tougher, which was bullshit.
Yeah.
And I did it because, it was going to fall out in a matter of days anyway. And shower drain just filling up.
Yeah.
Guys will have male pattern baldness, but that would take years to lose your hair.
This is a sudden...
I went from a fro to a no in
2 weeks.
Right.
I mean, it happens fast.
Really fast.
And it would be one thing if it was just your head to it. Everything starts going into your eyelashes sometimes. Did you save your eyelashes?
And then I started to notice that one day on a plane, I looked at my legs, and I never was hairy anyway, but the hair around my groin for some reason stays. But my eyelashes eventually fell out, and my eyebrows. So now sweat and it was
eyes can get dry.
They get burning and the heat, and it was becoming like this thing that I had to think about all the time, and how to navigate my career into more personal stand-up and away from acting. Like I just wasn't looking like me anymore. So it was a lot to think about. And I wondered if people knew about it, would they still think I was funny? Like you go, well, if someone thinks you're sick, they have sympathy for you, but they might not think you're funny. It kind of would undercut what I was making fun of people, busting balls, telling jokes. Everything was on my mind. Everything was sort of up for grabs in my head. Like this might be the end of what I'm doing as a comic. And, I worked through it over time, with the doctor's help and sort of telling friends and this and that, but I never really went public until the Oscars. And I was so mad that woman couldn't laugh at it. And I said, oh, well, who am I to talk? I'm not laughing at it. I'm ducking it too. I was so mad that she wouldn't laugh at a joke. And here she is, this beautiful movie star, TV star, Jada Pinkett Smith, just rolling her eyes and sort of shutting down a joke about it. And that upset me. It was like, wow, man, if she had laughed at that silly joke, then that would have normalized the condition for hundreds of thousands of people. Dr. King had told me about a young girl in, I think it was Indiana now, who was 10 or something, and was wearing a wig to school, got bullied, the kids took her wig off, she killed herself.
Yeah.
Now, I looked it up and it's true. And obviously we all have our own journey. And when I heard all that night of the Oscars, through a haze of fury about my hero, Chris Rock, getting slapped over a roast joke, all because he got side-eye from the missus. And I posted about it, just saying, just a couple sentences, saying, I have alopecia. I wish she had just laughed at it. It would have made a lot of people feel a lot better. So I basically outed myself without any vetting in the middle of the night out of sheer emotional urgency. And, obviously the joke's on Jada now because I'm starring in G.I. Jane 2.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, it worked out great.
Works out fine.
So I do owe Dr. Drew, for the people listening, the Dr. Drew fans, they should know how grateful I am, and I appreciate you.
It was nothing. I was so breathtaking that I literally was like, oh my God, I know exactly where to send you. Thank God you called me.
I got you on the right day and the right article. Yeah. And it's one of those things where people don't have a lot of sympathy for it. So, especially as an adult man, all right, well, you lost your hair, but when your eyebrows and your eyelashes start to go,
it's the thing.
It's really hard to be funny when you don't know. You lose your ability to give expressions.
And by the way, I thought though, I don't know, you wear a lot of hats and stuff. I think you pull that off great.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's sort of, you're just figuring it out. You're figuring. Do you watch Barry, the TV show Barry?
I haven't.
Show me Chechnyan on Barry. Chechnyan criminal. He's like an organized crime. There he is.
This guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's the star of the
I've met this guy.
Yeah, he's the star of the fucking show. He's like killing it. And his look is his look. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And it's not like, oh, weird or whatever. At first, as it's sort of, it's striking in the sense that, wow, what's up with this? And then it's just him, you know? And I feel like he's doing a lot for this too, right?
You know, I wonder if he was always like this, because a lot of the alopecia, and I made up my own word, alopecians.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
I was in Yellow.
Jonathan Swift wishes he had brought that up.
And I was in Yellow Springs, Ohio, at Dave Chappelle's farm, and he does shows under the gazebo out in this cornfield, and this had all just sort of happened, and I started talking about it the way I'm talking about it to you, a couple of jokes about myself, self-deprecating, and I said, "Are any other alopecians here?" And I never said that out loud before. And it was, the sun was just setting in the cornfield, so I could see the audience. And a lady right in the front, 10 feet away from me, throws her hand up and screams. And I look at her, I go, "Oh, that's really?" And I look at her a little closely, and she's young and beautiful and fit, and long hair and sunglasses. And okay. I thought maybe she's teasing me. She stands up, she pulls her sunglasses off, she pulls her wig off and waves it around in the air. And the place fucking goes crazy.
Yeah.
And I go, "Can I try that on?" And I walk down off the stage, down into the crowd. And I don't try it on because I don't want to make a joke out of this moment that we're both having.
Yeah.
It was like a coming out for both of us.
Yeah.
And I put my arm around her and I made a couple jokes about me and her and the whole thing. And I felt like something lifted. And of course I go backstage and I'm thinking, oh, all the other comics are going to be like, "Wow, that was incredible." I walk in, and Donnell Rawlings is smoking a joint in the corner, looking at his phone, and Dave Chappelle's laying, my friend 30, he's laying on the couch with his eyes closed. I go, "None of you guys saw that? What? Are you kidding me?" And Dave, in his best way, opens one eye, looks at me and goes, "You freed her, man." And
people don't know, Dave will tell you, was instrumental in Dave Chappelle's career. I
don't know about all that.
Oh, he told me about it.
And what Dave had seen it, and I do feel like in some sense there was a catharsis happening where I'll do whatever I can to release the stigma of especially young people.
Yeah, you're doing it right now, right this second.
And
are you on the Xeljanz now? Are you taking that?
So I did, when my eyebrows came back a few years ago, it was very hard to get the prescriptions.
What?
Yeah.
So are you getting it covered? Or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fortunate.
And even to just buy them,
yeah,
I would have to get them from different countries, and my doctor would help me. It was complicated because it wasn't necessarily FDA approved or whatever, or it was still experimental.
You'd have to get on the research.
Forgive me if I'm not saying any of this right, Dr. King, if you're listening, but it was difficult to get the meds for my condition. With my insurance or whatever. It was very expensive.
Very.
And when I first started, this 5-6 years ago, when we first talked about it, it was prohibitively expensive. So it starts to come down to, do you want to pay all that money and lower your immune system for eyebrows?
Yeah.
And Dr. King explained to me saying, well, this is a mental health thing. If you don't feel like yourself and you can't raise your eyebrow on a punchline and you can't, quite work your face as a comic the way you want to, and so on. And I went on the drug, and after close to a year, I started to have some facial hair, some eyebrows back. And I was like, okay. And I guess I happened to run out of the prescription. COVID hit. I was like, you know what? I got my eyebrows. Let's see if I can go off this Xeljanz and still keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept them for a year or two. And I don't know if it's stress related or what, personal stuff. And I lost a couple of good buddies in the last 6 months, and my eyebrows fell out again.
Jeez.
But miraculously, I suddenly, out of nowhere, grew a mustache. I don't know. It's a medical miracle. I don't know what it is. My doctor looks at it, and he gave me the same expression that my German Shepherd gives me when I howl, like his head cocked, and like, wow. He's just like, wow.
Well, there's always RPC the movie.
What's that?
The movie we're going to put you in charge of with the guy with the mustache. You're going to be starring in that movie now. RPC the movie.
I told you, G.I. Jane 2. I told
and
you
G.I. Jane 2, both movies.
I
It's
got a
fantastic.
double feature working. So the body is a very, very strange thing. You have to be patient with it. And thanks to the research that Dr. King's doing, and thank you, Dr. Drew, for sending me in the right direction. And hopefully I can send some people on a path to finding a cure. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It seems like there's no cure, but there's a remedy.
There's a treatment.
And very recently, Dr. King, was in the New York Times. He got written up because he found another drug, which I'll probably start very soon, that has been effective. And
similar kinds of drugs.
Right. And he's found something that I guess my insurance will approve.
They're very safe. They are. I understand what you're worried about, and it's not zero risk. There's a lymphoma risk. There's a tuberculosis risk. There's things like that, but it's really low. A lot of people are on these medicines, and each are kind of a little different in terms of their relative risk. But people take it for Crohn's, they take it for arthritis, take it for all kinds of things. So. If you don't be scared if you go on these things.
Well, that's reassuring. Thank you.
And those people have to stay on them forever. I mean, I don't know how long you're going to stay on them or not, but they are definitely staying on them long term.
Right.
So
well, it's important to stay healthy, but I also want to look like me.
But
and the thing that frustrates my doctor is a lot of other dermatologists will preach, channel your inner, telling kids. Just learn to live with yourself and embrace who you are. And when you're like 10, 12, 15, or imagine being a teenager, a woman.
A teenage woman, yeah.
It's
a lot.
Crippling.
Yes.
It's crushing.
Yes.
So he gets angry at people who say, oh, just...
Because minimizing it. It's minimizing
exactly.
it. Yeah, no, it's a profound thing. And thank God we live in a time when people can have short hair or be bald and it's cool, it's fine.
Right.
I mean, this is more than just bald, right? I mean, this is
No,
more.
I'm okay looking like if Amazon sold a Jeff Bezos blow-up doll.
Look at all these opportunities. Look at this. All these things. Give me one more video before we wrap this thing up. Come on now. One more.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Okay, here's let's see, we got
these are the classics. I won't get to see these again for another 4 years.
Here's the Sissy from Fremont.
Oh, the Hey Hitler.
Hi.
Oh, give me the Hey Hitler if you give me that, so we can show.
For a white lady.
Okay.
That's tattooed and dominant, and be willing to put me in a dress and beat the shit out of me. Call me. I'm the Sissy of Fremont Street.
I get.
In Fremont. Sissy Gemini. Again, you stupid white bitch. That's what I'm looking for, is a stupid tattooed white bitch that'll put me in a dress and beat the shit out of me. Call me.
See, I get sad when I see
22.
these. It's like, oh my
waiting,
God.
You white slut.
I just get sad.
Why?
Because I just feel like that's somebody who's desperate and suffering and not happy. Just, you like it? It's good comedy.
It's not my thing, and why is it sad if that person...
Oh, I don't care. Not what he's into. It's the whatever. It just seems
they're
like
honest.
Yeah. No. I don't mind the manifestation. Doesn't make me feel sad. I don't care what they're doing. It's just that go do it. Don't beg for it online. I don't know. It's like
I see.
It's just feel desperate and sad. That's all. So, but maybe you're right. Maybe I should switch my attitude about this.
I don't know. I didn't catch sad in there. I felt like that person probably knows more about themselves than most people and is putting it out there. And where else but the internet are you going to find somebody
to beat the shit out of you?
A partner.
Oh, beat the shit out of you. But he's being his best self.
And Fremont Street is some very, very nice apartments. Probably person's probably doing well.
That's right. All right.
And by the way, the Sissy of Fremont Street sounds like a great name for a miniseries or a movie. I think
true.
there's some potential there.
I don't know.
I'm a silver lining kind of guy, Doc.
I'm with you. I try to be. But I react. So I think so. I don't know. But good. You're adjusting my attitude. It's good. All right, everybody. drfdark@gmail.com. Voice messages at 818-253-1693. My friend, good to see you. I'm so glad you spent some time with me here.
It's really fun, Doc.
Yeah, we happened to be in Austin at the same time, and thank you for setting this up.
It worked out great.
Yeah.
Yeah, great to see you. My best to the family.
Great. Do you want to promote anything anywhere? Or?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm on tour.
Yeah, you're gonna be all weekend this weekend.
I'm here.
Later.
I know, I understand. But roastmastergeneral.com. I put a bunch of tour dates on. This is the best time to see me. I'm never a big like self promoter, but my act right now is killing it.
Nice.
It's like vaccine for your brain. And I love being a comedian more than I ever have in my entire 30-something years. I just totally dig being on the road.
Great. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next time.
All conversations and information exchanged during participation in the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.